Welcome back to the vIQtory Podcast. I'm your host, Steve McGrath, and in this episode, I'm pleased to bring you my conversation with Domenique Davis. Now, if you don't know who Nick Savo is just yet, he's coming out of UNC Pembroke. That's a D2 school, and as a member of the Braves, he played defensive tackle. And he was considered one of the best D2 prospects in the country heading into 2020, but he tore his shoulder, had a fracture in his foot, and he never ended up having the season he hoped for. So now that he's rehabbed, he's doing everything he can to get on the radar for the NFL teams, and hopefully he'll get a chance to shine next year. Now I'm going to let Domenique tell you his story, which involves him working at Big Lots after high school and working his way into this position. But before I do, let me remind you all that we're brought to you by Team Builder, and they work with over 500 high school football programs nationwide, as well as colleges in the NFL. So if you're looking for more information on running a weight room, different workout programs, go to the website, use the promo code vIQtory, and you're going to get a free gift. So go there, show them some love. But for now, check out my conversation with Domenique. All right, I am pleased to be joined on the line by Domenique Davis. Domenique, how are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you for having me on here.
Oh, I appreciate you taking the time. And just in case anyone in our audience isn't familiar with UNCP, that's North Carolina Pembroke, the D2 Braves, that's where you just wrapped up your collegiate career. And just to set the stage for everyone, going into it, you're considered one of the best D2 defensive tackles in the country. So you came into 2019 with a lot of momentum and a lot of, just pure power that you were bringing to the table, and then some injuries happened. So I just wanted to jump right into what was 2019 like for you, because you had all these expectations and all this stuff that you wanted to prove that, you could, challenge, Kyle Duggar for being the number one defensive guy in D2. However, it gets a little derailed. So just what was 2019 like for you as you just battled through so many injuries?
Man, it was really a grind. It was definitely tough. Really, probably one of the hardest parts of my life, man, is just knowing I can do so much more. But I still show uh a lot. Definitely show some toughness, man. But it's just an obstacle I just had to get over. I definitely learned from it. Definitely just learned from it because that's something that I never been through. Never really had to like a injury that requires surgery and stuff like that, or nothing like that enabled me to do certain things. So it was real tough, but I feel like I definitely made it through because some people usually would give up, sit out. I chose not to do that.
Yeah, and to bring further clarity to this, you tore your shoulder before the season even started. So before 2019 game one even happens, surgery is on the table for you, but you elected to not go that route. You pushed through essentially having one arm for an entire year until, was it game three where you have a stress fracture in your foot?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're
It was
downplaying a
like,
little bit, pushing it through. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured, and you were really close to being injured, but you muscled up and you pushed through.
yeah, I just thought about it like with all the things that's going on, man. Just me coming from where I come from, like I just had to do it. I already been, you probably don't know my story, but I had actually sat out before coming to Pembroke. I had transferred from Shaw University, and before I came to Pembroke, I had I had I was working at Big Lots. I wasn't playing football or anything like that. So I just thought about it them days when I didn't have anything, man. When I wasn't a football player, and I just had to suck it up. And I was like, you know what? It was a moment when you didn't have any of this things going on. So I definitely used that to my advantage, and used it for my hunger.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, that's why we're doing the podcast, right? So that you can tell your story. So please take us back to just when you're 16, 17 years old, even 18 when you're in high school. Did you think about football then? What's the road for you to go from there to ultimately to getting to Shaw before you transfer?
Um, in high school, I'm from Skyline High School. It was real tough because I really didn't start booming until my senior year. Uh, I had a great senior year, but I was undersized. I was like, well, at the beginning of my year, it's a funny story. Beginning of my senior year, I was like 5'11", 215, playing nose guard, 3 tech, and probably throughout the season I was growing. So probably by that last game, after the last game, I had actually went to NC State or something like that. I went on a visit, and I weighed in at 6'1", 245. So that's how. So at the beginning I was 5'11". At the end I ended up being 6'1". So I was really what you call a late bloomer. So I thought I didn't really know football to take me here like now, but I wasn't really that serious with things like I should have. I really just wanted to go play ball. I didn't care where I went, so I ended up choosing Shaw University. Went there, and things got derailed. Like I wasn't focused. Wasn't going to class, man. I was just doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And I just got a wake up call, and I end up telling my mom like, yeah, I'm ready to leave. Like I just want to start over. So I ended up coming home. Probably some of the worst times of my life. Working back home at Big Lots, going to community college, it was just terrible, man. Just like people from back home asking me like, what am I doing home? What's going on? It was just a terrible time in my life, and I ended up, just grinding through it because I wanted it so bad. I made a promise to myself that I never give up. Like I got to do something with my life, and I got to get back in school, university for one. Just didn't want to go home and be a failure because that's what's known around where I'm from at Lombard, North Carolina. People go back home and they don't do anything with their life. They end up getting like a normal job and stuff like that. I mean, not knocking any of that, but that's just something I didn't want to do. So, not a lot of people believed in me, believed in my vision. So I just stuck to it, worked out every day. Every day I got off work, I worked out. I was talking to teams and stuff like that, schools and stuff. I actually was trying to get in UNC Charlotte. I ended up falling the credit short a couple weeks before move-in day, and they had told me late. So I ended up checking my email, and just so happened that Pembroke had emailed me back from a long time ago and telling me they like my old high school film and they want me to come out there and visit. So end up visit. They end up telling me that I got to try out. So I ended up trying out, made the team, and start working my way up from below the depth chart and just grinding it out, man. Just grinding out. And end up
Wow.
working myself to the position I'm at now.
And for the record, at least from what I could see anyway, you're 6'3", 315. So you want to talk about a late bloomer. I mean, it's over 100 pounds and 4 inches from the time you started your senior year to where you are now. So just a little bit bigger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's funny, right? The parallels right there with Kyle Duggar as well. Someone that felt that he could not get looks from bigger schools because of his size, but when he got to college, was able to continue to develop, throws on more weight, more size, and then all of a sudden he's a force. So very similar trajectory there.
Yes, sir.
But but when you get a chance to actually play now, so 2017, from what I could tell, is your first year at UNCP. What
Mm-hmm.
was it like for you to get on the field? Because you just talked about battling back to get to this point, feeling like you were close to being in a what if situation where you're working back home and you might never know what you could have been. You have that moment where you decide to kick it into gear. So when you're back on the field, how, was it a big adjustment to adapt to that level of play? I mean, what were your emotions when you finally got out there?
Man, that game, man, I ain't gonna lie, I definitely cried because I was just like, dang, I remember this same time last year, I was back at home, not doing anything with my life, just waiting for this moment, and I finally, reached that time, and it was just like a blessing, man. It was kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough because no matter how much you work out, how much you run, football shape is totally different. So I
Right.
definitely had to work my way back into game shape and stuff like that because I hadn't played for like almost a year. So like it was a definitely an experience, but I ended up staying at it, getting back everything, all my abilities and stuff like that, and it ended up working in my favor.
Now, did you have like a one moment where it sort of hit you like, I can't do this forever? Or was it more of a gradual, while you're working at Big Lots for you to sort of realize, hey, I need to get back out there?
it was like a moment like, yeah, I got to get back out there. It was kind of like both, like I just can't do this. I just can't just sit there and be like a normal person. You can say just I just didn't want to do average things. I wanted to go out there, all right, man, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. Like, if I really want to do this, I got to give my all to this for anything. Not even if it was just if I want to do anything else in life. Not even just football. If I want to go to school, you got to put in the work for it, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, and that's what I did.
Yeah, nothing comes easy, but I want to ask because 2018, right now, your second year there as a Brave,
Yeah.
you have a big jump in terms of your production on the field. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like 5 times the number of tackles. Your tackles for loss, more than double. Was there anything that you can sort of pin why you were able to make such a big jump? I mean, physically, were you still developing at that point? Is it more of like a technique thing? Is it, watching film? What would you say, if anything, how did you make that jump?
Really, I'm a grinder, man. I'm a hard worker. So when after that first year, I knew everything, all my weaknesses. I studied myself. That's one thing I take pride in. I study other people's game. I study my opponent's game, and I study my game. I take and I learn from it, and I learn my mistakes, my strengths. Like I'm good here, I'm good with that, I'm bad with this, and I'm bad with that. And that before that, my junior year, I really critique myself. That's one thing I pride myself in is critiquing myself on every little thing. I feel like I'm not good enough. That I always have that drive. So that's what really drove me to end up really having that great year.
Now, do you recall like what did you think were areas that you're good in versus what you were weak in? Like, do you actually remember what that scouting report looked like heading into your junior year?
Um, Actually, I don't. Probably, lateral quickness. I wasn't that quick out the ball. I didn't have probably necessarily. I didn't even have like confidence. You could say. Like I was still learning the plays because we had a big playbook. And coming to Pembroke, we run a lot of stunts, a lot of games. I never did that in high school. It was really just straight play ball. So yeah, that was kind of different with me there. But I end up just sitting myself down and just learning everything, just every play, every stunt, everything. And I think that's definitely what happened with that. Learning, crafting my technique, definitely helped me
Eh, Gotcha. So, but from what I can see, it's a lot of three techniques. So, has it pretty much your entire football career? Has it mostly been that's where you're sort of been lining up?
Actually, no. Uh, Really, I was a DN, defensive end, especially when I was recruited out of high school. I was a defensive end. So when I really got to Pembroke, it was kind of different when they threw me the three technique. Because when I came in as a freshman at Shaw, yeah, I was like six two, 6'1", and I was like 265, and they had me in. So when I gained all that muscle and that weight, when I got to Pembroke, they just threw me in at three tech, and I was like, "Whoa, I ain't never played three tech before, or nose guard." Well, I played nose guard in high school, but I actually like it a lot better. Actually,
Now, I've heard you before. I know Timmy Jernigan is one of those guys that you like to watch film on. So, when you move into three technique and you start playing inside, how did you go about figuring out, okay, who do I need to model my game after? What ultimately led you to him? And what is it about him and guys like him that, like, what aspects of their game do you look to add into your own?
man, it's really with three tech. It's like or playing interior, it's always contact first. So it's just like guys playing with that ferociousness, man. I just like that. Um, Watching Timmy, I've been watching Timmy since he was in college when he was at Florida State, and I always took a liking to his game, and I kind of always trying to play like him. But I end up as I got older, I end up molding my own game, getting away from that, and just taking game from like all the great players, even back in the day, even Warren Sapp and stuff like that. Just learning because you never can be too good, man. You never can.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I did want to just fast forward a little bit to now because after your season, senior season ends, you do elect to have that surgery. So you're in the course of rehabbing. So just what's the update, man? How you feeling? How's everything going? Do you feel like you're on track?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm on track, man. I rehab every day. Um, really, just going hard, just day by day, just taking it day by day. Because usually stuff like this can get people down, and I try not to let that happen to me. Because at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of when I'm at that level, when I'm at that 100% mark. So really, I'm at the 2 month mark right now. We're about to be 3 months. So right now, from what my trainers are telling me, like I'm really ahead because I'm making everything look kind of easy. You know, I'm right. I really feel like I'm in the right place right now. I definitely do.
That's awesome. And also particularly because you have things like a pro day that you could potentially be doing, and you obviously want to make sure that by the time the summer and late spring roll around, that you'd actually be physically able to participate in football activities. But it sounds like you're
Hmm.
well on your way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you've already kind of hinted at it, but for someone that, had the injuries during their senior year, so obviously you don't have the year that you wanted, but then you have the surgery and now you have to go through that rehab process. You said that, this is what you want to do. You're focused on it and you're sort of blocking out the noise, but how hard is it to just stay focused and stay the course when you can have those sort of negative thoughts that kind of creep into your head?
Man, I still do. It's you can't always block it out. It's just you just got to get over it sometimes. Like, hey, it's either gonna make you or break you, and I try to not let it break me at all. So day by day, I try to just focus on getting better, 1% each day getting better. So like, it gets tough sometimes because you down. Like, man, am I doing everything I'm supposed to? Is it gonna be? Am I gonna be healed by this time? But at the same time, I jump right out of them thoughts because that's the thoughts I don't need. I try to stay positive as much as possible.
Of
Definitely,
course.
but I always try to uh do what I'm supposed to do, stay focused because the more I'm focused, the more tunnel vision I have on getting to my goal and blocking out everything, the quicker it's gonna come. Definitely quicker it's gonna come because that's why I just try to stay focused on that one thing, man. Just not getting down on myself because I see how some athletes can. I done seen an injury to an athlete apart. I've definitely seen that before, and I don't want to be on that road. So I definitely try to stay positive as I can.
Definitely. Yeah. Again, good for you because it seems like it's all heading in the right direction. So whatever you're doing, I think it's working pretty well.
Yes, sir.
So, I had also heard previously you mentioned about feeling underrated and sort of counted out, overlooked. How much has that and just having that chip on your shoulder played into just the way that you attack playing the game?
Man, that's really my whole game. I just have that mindset going into anything, any and everything, the weight room, practice, just always, and it get me through a lot of things. It's just having that underdog feeling, man. It ain't nothing that can compare. Because when you feel like you're back against the wall or anything, you bring that dog out. Like that's what brings that dog out of you. That's why I like to call
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? We had Trent Brown on, who called himself the greatest underdog. So if you can maintain the chip on your shoulder after you're a millionaire, then that means you have that thing down to a T, and it is just so unshakable. So I hope that you have the same level of success that he had, and of course, he just made his way to the Pro Bowl. Um,
it. Hmm.
but while you're rehabbing, you mentioned to me before we started here that you were able to sort of take some of your time and energy and focus it on earning your degree, which is something that is obviously a huge accomplishment. So, if the football path never ends up the way that you wanted it to go, you have that diploma. So, have you given any thought to what the world might expect from Dominique if it's not on the football field?
Honestly, I really don't know. Yeah, everybody expects me to be the football player, the professional, but if everything doesn't go that route, I still want to be around the game. Of course, I'm gonna always love the game regardless if it goes anything's go left or right. It doesn't matter. So like when I get that degree, nobody can take that degree from you at all. No matter if you make it or if you don't make it. So
Absolutely.
that's one thing I definitely I sat down to myself and agreed on like, yeah, this is the right decision. This has to be the right decision because that's one thing nobody can ever take away from you.
Definitely. And it's something too that you'll always be able to show your son, and then you get to hold him to that level. So it's
Yes, yes, sir.
something that's only going to, reap future benefits no matter what. Um,
Yes, sir.
well, Dominique, I always end the podcast on this little thing that I call the Gauntlet. So I hope you're ready. I got a couple quick hitter questions for you.
Oh man, okay.
Let's do it. What's most important, having the number one offense or the number one defense?
Number one defense.
From a defensive lineman, that's no shock there. Now tell me, what's the pregame ritual?
Oh man, definitely gotta listen to my music. Just tune into my music and watch highlights. Definitely watch highlights of my favorite players.
Now, it's third and long. You know they're going to pass. What's the go-to move to get past the guy in front of you?
Ooh man. uh, Definitely a bull rush, a bull pull. Definitely a great get off plus a bull pull. Gotta use my strengths.
Love it. Now, to date, what is your favorite football memory?
Ooh man. Probably probably my junior year. Dang, that's hard. Matter of fact, nah, probably my senior year, Newberry. I had a good game. I definitely felt like I can do what I want at will, and I just took over that whole game.
Love
I
it.
had a QB hit, two TFLs, a forced fumble, and probably like seven tackles, 8 tackles.
Nice. Yeah, pretty good game. Now, what would you say is most important? Is it the players or is it the scheme?
Ooh, man. Oh, I gotta go with the players on this one. I gotta go with the players. I gotta go with the players.
Fair enough. Uh, Now, I got one last one for you, and I think it's the most important. Considering everything that you've been through to get to where you are today, what is the best piece of advice that you would give to a young athlete?
Mm, definitely. Mm, Best piece of advice probably be you know, no matter how big the obstacle is, man, you gotta keep grinding, no matter what, good or bad. You know, um, that's one thing I would definitely tell, or that's one thing I definitely tell other people. Are like, sometimes you may get down on yourself, or things might not go your way, but you always have to have that mindset where you have to keep grinding, no matter what. Always give 100% effort. Always do what you're supposed to do. Keep your head down and just keep working.
I love it. There it is. Dominique, lastly, where can everyone find you on social media?
Instagram, my Instagram name is Neek Savo. On Twitter, my name is 52 the Legend. Yeah, that's my old, yeah. Twitter.
Nice. Well, Dominic, thank you again for taking the time tonight. Of course, your story is still being written, but we wish you the very best as you continue your rehab and you get ready for what's hopefully a very big next step with what's going to happen over the summer and beyond.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me on here, man.
Of course, anytime. We'll have to do it again sometime. Let you check in and update everyone on how the whole thing is going.
Most definitely.